Well, we've got some pretty interesting Peacemaker Season 2 casting details, and it seems like James Gunn is going obscure again, but this time he might be leaning in to the Legion of Superheroes. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about these casting details, what's going on with Peacemaker Season 2, and why this season seems to be getting that obscure character James Gunn treatment Season 1 put on so well. Let's break it down. Now before we do that though, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. We do daily Marvel and DC videos, want to be your place for all the superhero news, but we're going to bring it to you truthfully and transparently so you are in the know. Well, as many of you know, Peacemaker Season 2 is currently in production. James Gunn is actually working on this series and Superman at the same time. And although he won't be directing every episode of the upcoming season, we have got confirmation he will be kicking off the second entry. Now, back when Season 2 of Peacemaker was announced, the DC Extended Universe was kinda still a thing. And it was a bit of a surprise that he would continue into the DC Studios' new DCU. Now, James Gunn has been a bit confusing about this. He has said Season 1 both is and isn't canon to his rebooted franchise, which has raised a ton of questions about how much a reboot this is when most of the actors and characters are returning. Now, regardless, we're going to have some new characters in the second season, who will clearly be part of the new DCU. And recently, Nexus Point News dropped some details about him, and they do kind of give us an idea of where James Gunn is going, and once again, he's grabbing characters that are super obscure in the DC universe. Now, as we always say, isn't from James Gunn or DC Studios directly, so we want to take it with a grain of salt, but Nexus Point has been putting on some really great news recently, and these are, well, obscure enough and close enough to casting requests that I think they're actually true. Now, according to the site, David Denman is going to play a character called Larry, which is probably a code name, but the character is described as a big tough guy with an equally big heart and a true best friend. Now, based on the description, I'm kind of betting he's going to play an old friend of Christopher Smith's, which should make some pretty interesting interactions with Vigilante, who truly believes in his heart he's Peacemaker's best friend and might make for some great comedic scenes between the two. David Denman has some comedic chops. He was a big part of The Office, so I'm really curious on where he fits in and which character he's playing. He might just be a character named Larry that lived down the street from Chris, or he could be some character from the comic that hasn't been revealed as of yet. Now, the second entry was where it gets a little interesting, because apparently Peacemaker Season 2 is looking to cast someone called Red Saint Wild, and they're looking for men of all ethnicities between 30 and 65 to play a character who, and I quote, a bearded outdoorsman and a hunter with a fondness for prey. Now again, this is unlikely the character's real name. That could give away plot points, but many people have suggested that Red Saint Wild is indeed Adam Orion, aka the Hunter. Now he is one of those obscure characters you know James Gunn is digging, and is from the Legion of Superheroes corner of the DC universe. Gunn is well known for plucking out these characters that most people don't know about, and then tying an actor to it that kind of makes it a household name. If you look at Adam Orion, the type of character he is, he's very much a DC version of almost Craven. Well, you could see this character description lining up to that perfectly, and although I don't know a lot about the character, just a little bit of research, it makes him pretty interesting, and it should be cool if he is one of the main villains, seeing him square off with Peacemaker. Now, we don't have a lot of other details about Season 2 of Peacemaker. Production is still ongoing. I'm not really expecting it until sometime early to mid-2025. The first season was an absolute surprise for many people, especially that opening title sequence, and many of us are anticipating so much for Season 2. I know there's going to be a lot of news coming our way, so if you want to get all those Peacemaker updates, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. But until then, what do you guys think? How do you feel about these two castings for the upcoming season of Peacemaker? And do you feel like Red Saint Wild is indeed the Hunter? Tell me what you think in the comments below.